burritos, barometers, and vernacular. All this week. Stand by. Hey everybody, welcome back to RATTLECAN FAB SHOP. I am James, and in this week's edition of Things I Learned at School, number one, I was talking to my friend, well, just one, and it was made mention that I should not be afraid of using machinist language when I'm discussing my learning adventures in machinist school. So, you've been warned. That would be the vernacular part. Second of all, burritos. I found the most amazing Mexican food truck in Miamisburg, Ohio. Something Guadalajara. I don't sprechen de Españolo, but I've had tacos from this place before, and my daughter was home from college on spring break, and she had mentioned something about wanting a really good taco. And her idea of really good tacos is not Taco Bell. So I said, I have the place for you. So we sauntered over the hill from where we live, and she got a chicken taco and a birria taco. I don't know what that means. She said they were fantastic. I enjoy life on the wild side. I had the beef tongue burrito that weighed, I don't know, 2.5 pounds. Good grief. It was huge. It was filling. It was muy delicioso. So, if you're looking for good food, good ethnic food, check out your local food truck scene. There's another place a little up closer to the base that has fantastic, like, Filipino food, or perhaps I should say Pacific Islander food. It is, oh my gosh, it's just so good. Anyways, kind of getting off track there. That would be the burrito part of the week. And barometer part of the week is, well, this. It was 70 on Tuesday. It's snowing today. Monday, low is supposed to be 21. Thursday, high is supposed to be like 75. I don't care. I don't care which one you want. Just friggin' pick one. Okay? So anyways, let's talk about school this week. Monday, welding metal fabrication class. Took a weld test on horizontal fillet welds, 3-pass variety, where you tuck one down to the corner and you do one on the, like lower third, and then one up on the upper third, trying to get a certain bead thickness, a certain width. Did okay on that. Yeah, the new guy, he's a good egg. So that class is, we're kind of settling down, kind of getting into the groove of it. Still trying to figure out how we're going to make up some of these quizzes, but we do stuff online. It's super convenient to do it that way. Tuesday in machinery class, what did I do? Oh, we tried our hand at knurling, which, if you don't know, is the kind of grippy part on a tool. And we're applying that. That is not a metal cutting process. That is a displacement process. You have some hardened, in our case, we're using a scissor like this. We're using a scissor knurling attachment. So you put these hardened wheels, and they have like a little slash pattern, but they are opposed. So when they roll over the same spot, they make a little X. And you put a certain amount of pressure onto this, and then you run it down to one end of where you're knurling, and then you run it back. And if you continue to do that, then you will make these little X's into little pyramids. And so, yeah, I'd never done that before. Had some discussion with with a couple of instructors, and we got some fantastic lab techs at Sinclair. Cannot speak highly enough of them. Very knowledgeable guys, very willing to share, have discussions with you about stuff. I love that. So talked about, going back and forth and trying to get those little hash marks to make themselves into pyramids, and about how you would maybe not go so deep if you were going to leave it in a raw state, how you would knurl those in a much heavier pattern if, let's say, you were going to send something like that off to chrome plating like they do for a lot of tools, because then you're kind of disappear some of that. So we did that. I thought I'd show you the difference in chip size between a 50,000ths of an inch cut and a 2,000ths of an inch cut. You're just taking like little wispies off of your metal, trying to nail a final dimension. I thought I'd show you this. This is kind of the process that our little lathe widgets are being made into, because this was the last week of lathe class. So we start manual milling on knee mills next week. That was Tuesday. Tuesday evening, I had excitement. I like my big truck, except when it comes to working on my big truck, because I had to replace a brake caliper. And this brake caliper, that gray part you see, is wider than my hand. Pretty sure that part weighs about 4,000 pounds. So it's a little unwieldy. But anyways, now the truck doesn't want to go into the ditch when you hit the brakes. I had a piston stick in there, and so we got caliper on one side, we got pads on both sides. But anyways, Wednesday took a test. I either did really good or I did really sucky. Just because, here's the thing, it's an open book, open note test. So I have my page full of formulas because, I try to be efficient. And so I have a page in there that is all of my formulas, my feeds and speeds for mills and drills, and figuring the distances for, the different degree drills, center taps, figuring your Z count. I have all of that stuff on a page. So as I start to do the work for this problem, my issue is, on one particular part, I came up with an RPM for a teeny tiny drill bit of 2 RPMs. The issue that I was having, and the thing that drove me crazy, is I'm pretty sure I've had a discussion with someone, and the mention was made that our RPM, our spindles are only rated for 10,000 RPMs on this machine. So why would I have a problem where the answer was RPMs over what the maximum spindle speed on my lathe is? Or not my lathe, my mill. So worked them. The answer kept coming out the same. So yeah, I either did really good and the problem was just a theoretical problem. It had no bearing on on our machine. The downside is there was an example part there. So that part has been made on that machine. So I don't have a high level of confidence in this. I may have been overthinking it. That's entirely possible. We'll see. And again, sometimes it's not about the mistakes you make. It's about your recovery from those mistakes. Thursday, that's all we do is measure stuff in metrology class. But we talked about test indicators, dial indicators, 'cause apparently they're not the same. Who knew? And comparing parts and how to annotate those parts when you're comparing to, and they're not exactly. If you're trying to figure out if they're different, how do you describe if they're different? So, and then Friday was open lab, and I went in and I finished my second part. We're given a blank that we can make you make a widget, make a lathe widget. And I have secured a number of blanks because I'm not satisfied with just making one part and then, in theory being done. That's not for me. So I made the second one, and then we have an inspection sheet where we go in and we measure all these different criteria on this part, basically doing your own quality control on this. And it turns out that the difference between these two parts, they are nearly identical. One has a heavier knurl on the knobby part because I consider a down and back a single pass. And I made 3 passes on the second part that I made. So the knurl is heavier, and I'm more good or happier with that heavier knurl. But I have a channel on there, and that channel is out of spec. More so than the same channel on the other part is also out of spec. One of them is out by 17 thousandths of an inch. The other one is out by 2 thousandths of an inch. So we're going to throw ourselves on the mercy of the instructors. We're going to hand in the one that is more in spec but has a less desirable knurl pattern on it, and we're gonna go with that and see how that works. And that was it. That was the week. I did get to get more stick time on the machines, which is I'm starting to become more comfortable with that manual lathe. We start manual mills next week. We also start stick welding in my Monday class next week. So I came home and got my welding set up in the shop, and I was running. What was I running? 3/32 6013 sticks, and then I was running 5/32 7018. I had forgotten how cantankerous 7018 can be, trying to get it lit off. But the last time I stick welded was like 3 years ago, and we only did that for like a couple of weeks, maybe 3. I think it was only 2. And we're going to do the same thing. My guess is this week we're going to do pad of beads, and then the following week we're going to do a 5-plate weld test, and then we're going to move on to TIG welding. So anyways, I did get registered for my classes. I am taking advanced machinery operations. That'll be at night, but that's in a compacted semester. So instead of going 1 4-hour block a week, I'm doing 2 4-hour blocks a week. I'm doing personal communications because apparently I'm a horrible communicator. I'm doing math for technologists, and then I'm doing PC apps for engineers, which apparently is Microsoft Office. Anyways, you kind of do what you got to do. Anyways, that was what I learned in school this week. If you have questions or comments, put them in the comment section down beneath the sermon notes. If you find this mildly entertaining for whatever purpose you derive from listening to me banter about, give us a thumbs up if you think we've earned it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to hit the little bell so the next time I talk about something silly like, beef tongue burritos, you'll get a notification about that. And if you know anybody that's thinking about going to technical school or community college for the trades, connect them up to me. Send them my way. Share this video with them, and maybe we can save them a little bit of angst and pain. Anyways, I'm James. This has been RATTLECAN Fab Shop, what I learned this week at school. Remember, if I can do it, I know you guys can do it. You guys have a great weekend. Cheers. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to spend it here with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. Here's one that you might enjoy as well. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that button, hit the bell next to it so that you get a notification when we drop a new video. If If you got comments, put them down beneath the sermon notes. And remember, if I can do it, you can do it. You guys have a great weekend. Cheers.